Now we are live. Hey, party people. We are live today, this wonderful Tuesday evening, the 3rd of August. It is a pleasure and a blessing to be here with you guys, to be talking about the elephant in the room as we continue our series on the art of communication.
100%.
So for those of you who don't know, we always take a few minutes at the start of our live session to make sure everything's working, to make sure we have sound, that everyone can hear us okay on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook, because we've had a couple of technicals in the past and it really has ruined the good hard work that we put into it. So rather than allowing that to continue, we just take a few minutes just to share it, just to post it, just to check that everything's nice and easy breezy, that everyone can hear us okay, and then we get straight into it. So if you see us pausing for a moment, it's not that we don't know what we're here to talk about. It is because we want to make sure everybody can catch it, and not just catch it now whilst we're live, but also catch it on the replay. So Ulrich is just pinning the comment and checking everything's live and putting everything together. So I'm just going to greet you all, Facebook and YouTube. Hi, how are you? It's lovely to see you guys. Hope you're having a blessed day. It's been a bit of a mad day with regards to the sun has been out, so it's been lovely, but it's been a bit chilly as well. So mix. And Instagram, good to see you guys. Lovely to have you with us. And yeah, it's going to be a blessing. It is a Tuesday and we are here. It's 9 p.m. I mean, hello. We've been doing this now since last year, March. So it's almost a year and a half old, which is beautiful. And on top of that, we have been discussing this topic, the art of communication, for the past...
It's going to be, this is week 21.
Week 21.
Crazy.
Like, the Lord has been good to us to let us see 21 weeks of just talking about communication, how to work on different things that may cause problems with communication in relationships and marriages. And I think what stands out the most about that is if we can come up with 21 different things to discuss, but for just as topics, I am sure that you guys already have other things that we're probably missing, or things that we haven't considered, or 100%. Things that we need to go through. So it is definitely it's a real encouragement, but it also highlights the importance of communication, because I think if 21 different things could potentially be a problem in your relationship, then that means you're continuously having to work on 21 different strategies or 17 different strategies as to how you can communicate with one another and be a blessing to one another.
That's right. Well, good evening, everyone. Hope you guys are good. If you're watching us from Facebook and YouTube, a very good welcome. Instagram, welcome. Still kind of waiting for them to kind of connect us to everybody. Don't know what's going on there.
For some reason it's saying holding.
So yeah, hopefully that will kick in at some point. But yeah, guys, welcome to another Tuesday evening.
Yes.
As Siobhan said, we're talking about the elephant in the room.
Oof.
Which is a very, very, very big subject. And one obviously which is quite dear to our heart.
Yes.
Because it's definitely something that we're walking through ourselves. So we're giving fresh revelation where. So it's it's amazing. But yeah, for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, you might be live with us now. Or you might be watching this on a rebroadcast. We'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Ulrich.
And I'm Siobhan.
And this is Two Love Collective. And our main ethos is helping you, encouraging you to believe in love again.
That's
because
right.
Wherever you are in your relationship, there's always space for you to believe that much further, trust that much more, and obviously believe in love again. So we hope that what you're about to hear will encourage you and help you in some way.
Yes.
To kind of further on your relationships.
Mm.
And yeah, we just pray that you're blessed, man.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
know? So we're gonna go straight in. I'm gonna try and reload this live. I'm not too sure what's going on.
Oh, it looks like it's just paused.
Yeah. It's a bit weird. Give us a second, guys. Oh, okay. Here we go. Someone's joined.
Hey.
Amazing. Cool.
How's it going?
So yeah, we're just gonna go straight into it.
Yes.
Go on.
So today we're still in the Art of Communication series, and today we're talking about the elephant in the room. Now, we gave it this title because we know that within our relationship, this may be our elephant in the room, but somebody else's relationship may be a completely different topic. So rather than saying, oh, it's a bedroom issue, or it's a cleanliness issue, or it's a respect issue or a submission issue, there's loads of different things that people have that is a reoccurring situation that keeps coming round. But rather than it keep coming round and being dealt with, it's being avoided. And then it becomes the elephant in the room where you're tiptoeing around it. It's getting unbearable. It could be something that you've been feeling like you want to say something about. But if you do say something about it, you kind of feel like, I'm going to hurt their feelings. I'm going to offend. It's going to be just a whole nother thing. So really and truly what we've tried to do is we just want to talk about it, basically.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, like Siobhan said, it's a very touchy area. And I think ultimately she kind of said it in a nutshell, really, because ultimately it's the thing that is unspoken. It's the unspoken issue, which generally has a lot of hurt behind it.
Yes.
Can have a lot of like resentment behind it as well. And so there's a fear of bringing it up because you're unsure how the person's going to react. Because in our case, it's kind of like, it's one of the things where because particular things have been kind of left unspoken about for such a long time, it's almost like a new muscle. It's like now trying to learn how to use that muscle because we know it's going to hurt. Do you get what I'm saying? It's almost like when you haven't gone to the gym for ages
and you know it's going to hurt.
And you just know that tomorrow morning is going to be a problem. Even you're right, actually. So even coming to the exercise, even doing that 10-15 minute run before you start lifting weights or whatever, you're not even looking forward to it.
No, not at all.
Because you know it's going to burn you. But you know that after you get through that first hurdle, it becomes easier.
It gets better.
And you move forward. But I think that to lay a foundation, I think communication is one of those things where we sometimes take it for granted because we think that it's quite a plan of the enemy, really, to silence us because a lot of times there are particular issues which need to be dealt with. And because we are afraid of potentially what may happen by opening our mouths, or maybe we get into a particular habit where we don't say things and we get into this kind of perpetual cycle where it's just like, oh, just leave it. It's not that deep. It's not that important. But really and truly, it is. You know,
that's just it.
And you just leave it to fester. And sometimes it's the small things that build up and build up and build up and build up and build up. And because you keep just saying, nah, it should be fine. The
carpet.
I'll be okay. Do you know what I mean? It's not that deep. I don't want to hurt her feelings, or I don't want to hurt his feelings. Let me just leave it. Do you know what I mean? It's not worth it. You know, all these kind of words is what we tell ourselves about a particular situation.
You're not wrong.
And sometimes what begins to happen is you even in yourself, because they've been kind of building up, you begin to become resentful. And this is only one side, because another side could just be that, you know what, you don't see it as that deep. And maybe you've even attempted to communicate that thing and maybe it's been resolved.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it really depends on where you're at. It really depends on what the situation is. But I think what we really want to talk about today is the coming together. And that side of it is the hard part, because it's almost letting go of pride.
Yeah.
Letting go of the almost like the thoughts that you have in your head of how this is going to turn. Because sometimes we avoid conflict because we just don't want to fight, or we just don't want it to get loud, or we don't want the kids to hear you arguing, all this type of stuff. But actually, by depriving yourself of that opportunity to start the dialogue, it's just, you're just piling on top of, you know, you're not really dealing with the issue, you're just covering it up.
And I think it's easier said than done when we say it's about addressing it, it's about speaking about it, because the minute you have to bring it up, you've already, if you're anything like me, you're processing. So you're thinking, right, I could say this, they will say this, then it will go here, then we will end up here, because the last time this is what happened. So you're kind of anticipating what the response is going to be. And because you're anticipating, you start saying, well, boy, is it even worth all of this? I'm going to go into all of this, say all of these things, and actually I think it's not worth it. I'll just avoid it, or I'll just choose not to mention it this time. But when I think about it, I think about my son. So at the moment, my eldest son, he will brush his teeth, he will spit into the sink, and then he will go. But he leaves the sink, and if there's toothpaste there, it will remain there. In his eyes, I've brushed my teeth.
Jeez.
Ulrich is the person that'll be like, Matthias, go and clean the sink. You have not cleaned the sink. I'm the person, I'll get to the sink and I'll be like, shut, and I'll clean it. Now, it's not to say that this is a helpful thing for Matthias. But I see it and I'm like, for the time that it's going to take for me to say, Matthias, come here. He's going to stop what he's going to do. He's going to have to put down the remote. He's probably going to drop the remote. He's probably going to have all the batteries come out of the remote. Then he's going to have to find the batteries, then put them back in. I'm coming, mommy. I'm sorry. I just dropped. Then I need to stop what I'm doing to wait in the bathroom for him to actually get there and then clean it. And then say, no, you haven't done it properly. And then supervise. And then in all that time, it now is impeding me from doing what I need to do. So what will I do? And move on. But that's a temporary solution if you're in a rush because you have to get out the door or there is something else pressing. But that can't be the only go-to because at the end of the day, your child now needs to learn, because what you're going to do is you're going to be raising somebody who doesn't know how to clean up after themselves. And nobody wants that. No, it's not practical. It's not beneficial in the long term. So I think when we have these kind of things that are building up in our relationships, we have to kind of assess, right, how urgent or important is this for me to bring it up? Is it something that's it's not really worth it? It's a different kind of circumstance for this to be needed to be addressed. Whereas no, this is a reoccurring thing that keeps coming up. And if I don't say something, it's going to get out of hand, that they're going to end up getting the blow up person or the frustration, like, you never clean the sink or you always. And the minute we get into you never, you always, those words, before the person has even heard the sentence that follows that, they've already got their back up. They're already ready to go into tit for tat mode. They're already like,
defense.
Exactly. I need to put my defenses up. So straight away, I guess we have to instantly check if this thing is something that is affecting me to a certain degree. How do I raise it? How do I address the elephant in the room? How do I stop myself from feeling like it's not worth it? I'll just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
Because sweeping it under the rug, at the end of the day, it might feel like, oh yeah, the rug covers the multitude of sins. It looks like it's fine, but actually after a while, that rug gets lumpy and bumpy. It is evident that there is stuff that needs to be addressed.
Definitely.
And when that needs to be addressed and we get to that stage, you find that you're hurting each other because you're tripping over the stuff that's not being dealt with, not being addressed, not being, resolved, because
definitely.
It's still there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the way that we do it, the way that we tackle it is, and again, guys, it's something that we are still learning and implementing, because it's not an easy thing, but it's about creating a culture of communication. Because I think one of the things that we learned from Miriam and Emmanuel a couple of weeks back is the importance of having regular reviews, which is now the two of you coming together and actually expressing from a place of love, but also from a place of just being real about how you feel. What is the temperature gauge of your relationship? Where do you feel like you're at, whether that be physically, emotionally, mentally? Just where are we? Do you know what I mean? Is there anything that is upsetting you? Is there anything that you've noticed that is, a continual thing or a perpetual thing that's been annoying you that I need to change? And so getting to that culture, do you know what I'm saying? Get into that culture where you are able to enter into a space where when we are here, the communication is going to be real and it may bite. But we know that we're saying it because it's something that's on our heart. Do you understand? And I think getting to that place is extremely difficult. And I think both parties have to be ready to do it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Absolutely. And sometimes that can take a little while, because even for us, it's taken us a little while to for both of us to kind of be on the same wavelength in terms of what is this review actually going to be, and actually understanding what it is, and that it may hurt. Do you understand? Some things that are said may not be nice, as in to hear, to hear, because I think hearing criticism of yourself is the hardest thing to take. Nobody likes that. But I think the power of being husband and wife, the power of, or the union of being together and being married, that for me is the strongest relationship. Outside of our relationship with God. So we have to be able to share those things, you know. Most definitely. And I think it comes back to the maturity thing, which we always talk about, because marriage is for mature people. This is not something for children. This is not something for people who are thinking about themselves and what they can get. It's about, what can I essentially give? And how can I give this thing or communicate this thing to help the other person become a better version of themselves? So, and I think that any person who feels like they are mature, you get into a relationship and it tests your maturity. It's just like you get into the gym and you trying to lift weights and you feel like, I'm strong, I can take it. And then you try and lift that size weight and you're like, boy, I'm not there yet. That any relationship or any marriage will show you where you're at. It will show you, okay, no, I'm not there yet. Or actually, I've got some work to do. And just because you've got work to do doesn't mean that you're not fit for marriage, or doesn't mean that you can't handle what is involved in a marriage. It means that these are areas, weaknesses. We have strengths and we also have weaknesses. But when we've got someone beside us, the point is that we're on the same team. So if they're telling us that this is something that we need to improve, it's not necessarily for us to say, right, you have it in for me, or you don't like me, or you want to say something horrible. I'm sure the point of you being in the relationship with the person
is because you love them, is because you want to honor them and help them and see that they improve, and they want the same for you.
Absolutely.
So the elephant in the room, I guess it gets to a point because we're kind of scared, and we're running from what we anticipate or what we think may come of it.
It's like the fear of criticism.
Exactly. It's the fear of what we think is going to happen. It's not, like for some people, it's the fear of the unknown. I feel like the elephant in the room is the fear of what you think is going to happen. I think it's going to end up with us being in a beef or having an argument or getting into conflict. So I'm not going to raise it.
Or even separate.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I can take any more of this or any of that stuff. And the minute you get into that, hey guys, you're running away from what you think is going to happen. It's almost like, we have to kind of teach ourselves not to think the worst, not to think that the worst of a situation is actually going to happen.
Yeah.
So sometimes we go to the nth degree. It's like
the extreme.
The extreme. We think if we're going to have this conversation with someone, we're basically going to get into such a heated argument that it may cause us to not be able to have an ability to get through this season. And it may not be that bad. Actually, it may be something that's quite simple, where it's been getting on your nerves, or this been bugging you, or this something is something you don't like. And the person doesn't even know that that's how you feel about it.
Yeah. That's
and
true.
The minute you raise it and you say, oh, I didn't know you felt like that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll sort that out. I won't do that anymore. Or, oh yeah. Okay, I'll do that. And then what you imagined goes out the window.
Yeah, it's true. Because it's all, at the end of the day, it's all expectations. And a lot of these things, it's like all the phobias.
Yeah.
Most of them are just mental.
It's true.
Do you understand? It's like you create your own expectations of the other person, and you create it in your mind based on how secure you feel. Because a lot of times those expectations are birthed out of insecurity.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
It's good.
Because it's like it's almost like you don't want to be caught out. You don't want to feel like, oh, I'm not being a good husband.
Yeah.
You don't want to be labeled as, oh, I'm dropping off. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But I think this is what I'm saying about the culture of communication. Is now almost shifting into the culture of self-learning as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Because it's almost like, you're imperfect. Like, one of my prayers, like, has always been, like, when I go to God, there was a season where it was literally every single day I prayed to God. I said, God, show me areas of my character that are not like you, and help me to translate that character into your character.
Wow.
Do you understand? And so what I did is I let God in to tell me about myself. Do you understand? To expose the areas in my life that were not right.
Yeah.
And that season I learned so much about myself. It was unreal.
It's powerful.
Do you understand? And it made me, and although, like, I'm sure you guys have been in that place where you feel like God is just slapping you. Do you get what I'm saying? Where you think a particular thought, you're like, well, no, you shouldn't think that thought, because this is what my word says about those types of thoughts. That's what, you can't think about her like that. You can't cuss her out in your head and just think that that's okay. Do you understand what I'm like? Proper just pulling me up
continuously
about myself.
Told you not to do that.
And I think if we are vulnerable enough for God to do that,
it's true.
I think we have to do our best. Because I'm saying do our best, because I know it's not easy.
Yeah.
But try to allow, and sometimes it's not only just your partner. Sometimes it could be your family, your mom, your dad. I mean, those ones are really hard. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're big and grown. But it's about allowing yourself to become a student of yourself.
That's good.
And allow your spouse to almost take the position of teacher. Whew. Which is difficult.
Yeah.
Do you understand? because
You care about what they think.
You care about what they think, and you don't want to look rubbish in their eyes.
Yeah.
You know, but the more you begin to exercise those muscles of communication, I believe that it will begin to become easier. And so particular conversations won't necessarily feel
as
like
intense,
it's like it's a personal attack.
Yeah. And I think let's just come back to what you were saying about part of the reason why we choose not to let someone speak to us about our weaknesses is pride.
Wow.
Like, it doesn't feel nice to acknowledge it like that, but at the end of the day, it's like Instagram. We put our best picture up.
Come on.
We take 16 pictures. We choose one image, and then we add filters to that one image, and we still crop certain things out of the image.
Mad.
And we post that picture, and we get so and so likes, and then we go back and check how many people have liked it and how many people have commented, and then we look at those who haven't commented, and then we look at those who have seen it in our stories and still haven't said, like, all of that is for an ego boost.
That's true.
So now when we're having to do the opposite with God, where we're actually saying, I will open myself up and let you see the things that I wouldn't even put out there for other people, and let you, the all-knowing holy God, or let my partner see those other areas that I would much prefer to be covered up. I'm now expecting you to not pick out my flaws. And if I don't like having you pick out or highlight the areas that I need to work on, I get angry, or I put up a stance, or I put up a wall, or I put up, the pride basically rises up. And the Bible talks about how pride cometh before a fall. But if we're not careful, what we end up doing is putting up barriers and pushing people away. Because when they go to address something, if they're only met with hostility or defensiveness or anger or aggression, they're less likely to raise it again. And what happens is, out of pride, we've stopped the person from being able to speak freely for the benefit of us. It's like we were talking about the whole point of why God says, okay, do not fornicate before you're married. And the point of it is not because God wants you to not fornicate, because why would he allow you to have sex in marriage? He's made your bodies to procreate and enjoy it. It's not that he doesn't want you to enjoy those things. Of course he does. But he wants you to learn how to have discipline. And that discipline is for your benefit. That discipline is for you to be able to now hold it down, so that if something goes wrong in your marriage, or something's not happening, or you're going through stuff, you're not stepping out on your spouse or whatever it is. You develop that discipline in you because of what you've been going through. So it's not for God. It's like when you pay your tithes. It's not for God. What does God need with money? He created the world. The point of it is that you learn how to give. You learn the principle of giving. You learn the principle of trusting in someone other than yourself, a greater power that God can actually see you through. When you don't have enough, you give the seed and you say, God, I'm trusting that you're going to take care of my family, and so on and so on. The point of it isn't for God's benefit. He's too great. It doesn't make any sense. So I guess with us being vulnerable with our spouse, with us choosing not to address the things that we need to, or let them address the things that we need to hear to become better, we're only spoiling ourselves.
Definitely.
It's sorry to use these analogies, but it's like, it's like choosing to go to bed and not brush your teeth. when you know you've been eating lots of sweet things.
Mm.
You not brushing your teeth is not anything outside of, it's just going to be damaging to you in the long run.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
you might feel like, oh yeah, well, I just couldn't be bothered. Okay, cool. But in the long run, it does the damage to you. You're only doing damage to yourself. In fact, if you got up and trained yourself to either not eat as much sweets, or if you're going to indulge in it, then brush your teeth after, so that you have the longevity. I think that, like, addressing the issues that you've got going on in your marriage or your relationship, and choosing not to have it as avoidance, or choosing not to sweep it under the carpet and just say, oh no, I don't want to cover it. In the long run, you have to look at, well, who is benefiting here?
Yeah, that's right.
Or who is actually losing here? And I think you'll find that you're actually on the losing end rather than on the gaining end.
Definitely. I think it's such a good point. I think one thing that we learned when we were dating was that marriage is a mirror. And that is a very deep statement.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because the person that you're living with, they see everything. Whether you want them to tell you or not is besides the point. Like, they see it. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, the issue is who now judges whether it's right or wrong. Because, like Siobhan always says, do you know what I mean? When you come into a relationship, or you become married, you've got, however old you are when you enter in, you've got, say, 25 years of doing things one way, which is right in your own eyes.
Yeah.
And then you're meeting somebody who might do the complete opposite, and who has done that opposite way for 25 years. Do you know what I mean? So how do you now marry? Do you get what I mean? How do you now become one? And I think that whole process, a lot of people love to just say it, but the actual process of one flesh requires communication. There's no way that you can become one by not communicating. I'm going to go off slightly. I love this show growing up, right? For the man them out there. I love this show called Dragon Ball Z, right? And there was a particular move, right, that the guys do, these Saiyans, right? And it's called fusion. And I remember there was a particular episode where they basically merge bodies, and they have to learn this particular dance, right? And they have to do the dance exactly the same. It's got to be completely mirrored. And if it's out by one tiny centimeter, they come out looking mad. Like, they come out looking fat or skinny or whatever. And they would literally do the dance, and right at the end they'll go fusion. And mate, if you missed it, see, Femi knows what I'm talking about. If you missed it, it just came out crazy. And I always remember that, because it's about walking as one.
Yeah. That's
and
good.
I remember in the episode, what they were saying is that they had to be focused on the same thing, about merging. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so that's, I think, sometimes the way we have to kind of look at things is that we are in this to merge. Do you understand? To become one. It's a fusion.
That's good.
Do you understand? And so in order for us to reflect off of each other, like, we need to be one. We need to be completely clean. We have to be clean of our own perspective. Yeah. Because when you go in the morning to get ready, you think you're okay, but you look at the mirror to check to make sure that nothing is out of place. Yeah. You know? And if we begin to think about that from the perspective of our spouses, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I ordered a t-shirt recently, right? That I thought was really nice. Okay. It came, I put it on, and Siobhan's face was just like, fam,
not that one.
Where are you going with that? I said, it's fine. Look at it. It drips down. It's got like a little angle thing. And she was just like, I'm not sure about that. And you know, when you try to convince them, you're like, no, it can work. Look at the back. Da, 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 da. And she was just like, her face was just like, I was just like, why does she look like she's smelling eggs? And in my head, it's like, I didn't even fight the issue. Like after trying to like convince it, I was just like, oh man. So then I just returned it because I knew that there was no fusion there.
Yeah.
We didn't fuse.
Yeah.
And if I had kept that t-shirt, it would have been lump-sided. Every time I wore that t-shirt,
yeah,
we would have been either fat or skinny. We wouldn't have been whole. Do you understand? So it's like these little things. Like she's at that point, Siobhan was my mirror.
Yeah.
She was my mirror to say, don't think that works. Don't think that looks good on you.
And it's the vice versa with the same with Ulrich. It's the same. I mean, the other day I was saying, oh, I'm thinking of doing a couple of these songs for praise and worship, and Ulrich was like, I don't know, I think. And I was like, I had this amazing idea of fusing these two songs together, and Ulrich was like, and
it's good. It works.
I don't think you should do that. And at the end of the day, it was just like, okay, I hear what you're saying. Now, the fact of the matter is, it turned out I didn't end up doing the songs in the end. But the point of it was, when your spouse is speaking, it's not because they're saying something to put you down. It's not because they're trying to control you. They're actually saying what they're saying because they want your best. Better it be that they tell you something before you go ahead and then have a negative. So I kid you not, there was one time that Ulrich and I were out and somebody did something that I didn't like. And how can I put this without saying it? Jeez. So long and short of it is, Ulrich and I were out. Ulrich did something and this person laughed. Now, I was angry because I'm just like, I can't come for you, but I want to. But the long and short of it is, the way that Ulrich and I try to carry ourselves is, I need to be your mirror and you need to be my mirror, so that there is no room for anybody to even to even have anything to say or to laugh or to point fingers, or we have to have each other's back.
Yeah.
So if it means that I need to hear something I don't like at home to prepare me for what potentially could have happened outside, then so be it. If it means that I need to be able to say to him, I don't think that drops as well as it could, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, there's only the two of us.
That's right.
In this team.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Exactly. So it's a tough one, guys. The elephant in the room, it's massive, and I think it takes up too much space.
Yeah.
It takes up too much mental space. It takes up too much, sometimes physical space.
Yeah.
Because it's there. And obviously we've spoken to a number of people over the years. Do you understand? So we know that there are various things that lead up to particular elephants being in the room, whether it's people's character, how people have been raised, culture, all of these different things. And sometimes when it gets to the culture side, it becomes very touchy.
Yeah.
So that's where we advise, obviously, speaking to someone, getting counsel, all of those things, because it's important that you get to the root, because what you don't want to harbor something for 25 years and then get to 25 years and then say, it's long. I can't do it anymore. It's like you've wasted so much time. And I think this is where this is why even like the whole dating process is just so important, because I think traditionally dating didn't really happen necessarily. It did, but it didn't. You know, people just like, oh, attracted to you. Oh,
yeah,
you're from a good family. Oh,
straight.
maybe even if it was arranged marriage, you know, that type of thing. And so people just hooked up. And so the culture was just to stay.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Regardless of what was happening, regardless of sometimes the abuse, regardless of sometimes, you know, the madness that some people were going through. But the issue is that we weren't communicating.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like most of our parents, you know, that generation, I don't know how much people communicated about particular things that they were going through.
Scared or expecting.
Exactly. And so I think in this generation, so many of us are going through similar things. And sometimes you only realize, most of us, we feel like we're alone.
Yeah.
Until we start talking to other people.
Yes. And then we realize.
And then we realize, actually, sometimes when you hear other people's stuff, you're like, boy, let me just take mine back, you know?
Yeah.
Because, fam, that's deep.
It wasn't as bad.
And you begin to realize, and I think this is where, you know, Christ was talking about, you know, confess your faults one to another.
Yeah.
Not necessarily telling people your business, but get into a place where you're cultivating particular relationships so that you can share these things. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you can be a safe place for someone, and you know, they can be a safe place for you.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because the fact of the matter is, we're not perfect.
Yeah.
You know, and I think for such a long time, we're so geared towards painting the perfect picture.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to relationships. Like, oh yeah, man, you know, we're on Clyde 9, you know, we go to the Ritz, we go to this, you know, we're living it up. Pictures are great, restaurants are great, money, all of that stuff is great. But my thing is, when it comes down to the nitty gritty about the two of you,
exactly,
are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Really okay?
Because for us, we've got to a point where it's just like, when we speak to people, we don't care about all of the trimmings, that the packaging that it comes in. You might have all the money in the world. That doesn't mean that you're winning in your relationship. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that you're communicating effectively. That doesn't mean that love tanks are full.
That's right.
You know? And so all of these barriers, we sometimes put up to kind of
stop ourselves,
or try to depict a particular image of where our relationship is. And sometimes it's not. And I think we have to, and it's something I've been really passionate about, I've been speaking to some of the guys about, is this whole kind of spirit of competition, where it's like we're secretly competing against other people, trying to outdo other people. And it's just like, look, I'm not trying to compete against anybody. I just want to fulfill the purpose that God has put me on this planet to fulfill. If you don't like it, see you later. You know, we can't ramp. We just have to keep it moving. The only people I want in my lives, those people who are going to help me get to the next level, and those people who are going to be there to support me regardless of what's going on. Do you understand? All other people, see you later. Do you understand? And so, like just cultivating these relationships which help you cultivate communication cultures. Because we hold too much in. We hold too much in, and sometimes we just need to find avenues to be able to speak.
So is it Del C?
Staying didn't mean communicating.
That's right.
Powerful.
Because a lot of people back then, they were staying together, but they were just living separately. Like there's so many families that can testify to, their parents slept in different bedrooms, and their parents ate dinner at different times, and just they lived separate lives, but they still stayed together. And I think that what that did was still give the warped perspective to the children about what marriage is. Because if marriage looks like it's endured rather than enjoyed,
come on,
you're still creating an incorrect model. But I think one of the things that I was thinking about when you mentioned Oh no, it's gone.
Come back.
I know. But one of the things that I wanted to touch on was the fact that when we are sharing and we are talking about the elephant in the room, there are strategies as to how to do this. And I think it's important that we pray and we ask the Holy Spirit to help us to communicate effectively. Now, you know your spouse and you know the best way to do this. Oh my gosh, you just said my reality. Too funny. I think one of the things, like we spoke with a friend of ours and she said, oh, they've started a communication book where they write notes to one another where it may be too difficult to say some things face to face because it could end up having an argument ensue, and you're not getting to the issue, you end up getting pulled into something else. So they would write notes to each other, and those notes would be in the vein of, okay, say something nice, something you appreciate, and they say something that you would like them to work on. Now, straight away I thought, wow, that's a really powerful strategy. And the thing is, we do that at work when you have to give someone their appraisal, or you have to talk about someone and how they're doing. You talk about two things they're doing well and one thing you want them to work on. Sometimes when we're in our marriages, we just go through all of these things that we want people to work on.
It's true.
And it doesn't make them feel good. It doesn't make them feel appreciated and loved and all of those other things. So I think it's not just a vein of talk to them, but it's how we do it. So I guess with us, what we're trying to say is we are not perfect. We are working in this area, but speaking to our spouse and saying to them something that we like or something we appreciate that they've done, coupled with something we'd like them to work on, makes it manageable. Not coming with a long list of their offenses or their trespasses.
You did that and you did this and you did that.
It just doesn't. And what ends up happening is the person will go into tit for tat mode, defensive, and you get well, and then you go somewhere else. And other strategies for you, if it's not writing things down, it could be just spending time talking and saying, how's your love tank, having your review, or if it's something you know that you need to actually address, actually schedule it in. Literally book the time in to say, okay, we're going to sit and we're going to talk the same way how you'd come together and say, right, we're going to look at our finances, or right, we're going to look at our weekends for the next month to say this is what our calendar is saying. The exact same way is how we sit down and say, right, let's review, let's actually plan in time where we are going to be speaking to each other. And at least when you know you've booked that time in, on the lead up to it, don't run into it. Oh, my heart is on my sleeve. No, you know this day's coming. Be prayerful, be surrendered, be asking God, you know what, let me hear it. And hear it with an open heart, not hear it with my back up, not hear it with
ready to fight. Ding, ding, ding.
Exactly, with your fist already clenched. It just washes off, and you don't actually allow yourself to really receive.
Yeah, it's true. Femi was like, I used to do something similar like that with my parents. You had it good, man. You had it good. No, but I think that's excellent. I think if you're ever privileged to have that type of that type of like relationship, I think it's amazing because it just builds very good structures, and you know, it just builds your mind and your perspective and the way that you see things growing up, and it allows you to now, you know, have those things instilled in your own relationship and when you have your own children, you know, because even for us, like we're thinking we're trying to implement some of those things, even the way that we discipline our children and how we talk to them and how we encourage them, because without it, do you know what I mean, if it's lump-sided, where it's all you didn't do, they begin to feel like failures. And then when they get to school and they're afraid to do things, we wonder why. And we don't even know that sometimes it's out of what we do indirectly, not knowing. Do you know what I'm saying? So, because I know that praise thing it's really important. It's really important. And especially, you know, as a man, as a son, you know, that type of thing. You have to remember we're created in God's image.
Yeah.
And God, he loves praise.
Yeah.
Do you understand? He says he inhabits in the praise of his people. So wherever praise is where he's going to go. So the principle of praising your children, praising your spouse, praising your work colleagues is something that as soon as that begins to happen, it causes there to be a reaction that takes place on a level that we can't even understand.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And sometimes we do forget that. So guys, I hope that this has been helpful to you. The elephant in the room is a big subject, and we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah, we have.
To be fair, but ultimately, I just think it's a hard one. It's a hard conversation to have. It's a hard thing to approach.
Yeah.
But I think Siobhan hit the nail on the head in that, you know, just pray and just ask God for guidance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And be very submissive to it, because I think the approach is so important.
Exactly.
You know, and it's not, you're not coming to a boxing match.
Yes, that's good. That's so good.
You're not coming to a boxing match. And sometimes that's the fear. Yeah.
That is how it is perceived.
The boxing gloves are on. Or even if they're not on, they're in the backpack. Just in case.
Just in case.
Kicks off.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I think the scripture that comes to mind just as we're closing is Proverbs 3, where the Bible talks about trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not upon your own understanding. And I think when it comes to relationships and when it comes to our marriages and how we deal and speak with our spouses, we continuously have to be reminding ourselves to trust in the Lord with all our heart. And we're leaning not on our own understanding. So even if this is how we may have done a situation, or this is how we may have thought about doing something, if our spouse is raising something with us, we can trust in the Lord. We can trust that God can help us to meet that or change in that area or be more whatever it is. If it needs that, if it is that the person says we're not compassionate enough, then the Lord can help us to be more compassionate. The Lord can help us to be more patient. The Lord can help us to be more trustworthy or loving or expressive, whatever those things are that this person is asking of us. We serve a faithful, loving God who can do all things and has said that we would do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So immediately we can see that if we apply ourselves and we actually say, God, I need your help in this area. So going back to praying, but also saying, God, I cannot lean on my own understanding of how to navigate through this situation.
Yes.
I need to lean on you. I need to lean on your word. I need to lean on what you say. Immediately, we get to see. And I know, you know, the Bible talks about how God says, I think it's in James, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask. And the point of that is that God gives us a double portion. If we ask of God, he will give it to us. He won't give us a stone when we ask for bread. If we ask God for wisdom, he will give us a double portion. So when we're not leaning on our own understanding, but we're saying, God, give me your wisdom in this situation.
Yeah.
Is he not going to rush in and give you double?
Absolutely.
Because he can see that you're committed to making something work. You're not committed to destroying and throwing in the towel and walking away half built. You're actually wanting to see a thing complete. That, you know, another scripture that comes to mind is the Lord sends out his word and watches over it to perform it, that it will not return unto him void. He doesn't like it when something is left half done or incomplete.
That's right.
He who has begun a good work in us is faithful to complete it.
Yeah.
So when we are choosing not to walk away from a situation or run from a situation or avoid a situation, but actually engage in how to handle it, and we ask God for the wisdom, and we ask God for the patience or the understanding or how to handle it, does he not give us double? Does he not see us doing something honorable? Does he not now want to bless it?
100%.
I'm just saying these are principles, tools that we can use in our relationships.
100%. So guys, thank you guys for joining us today. Yep, I'm reading the comments. Yes, thank you for sharing, guys. You are very much welcome, guys. Yes, so we really hope that you've been able to take a few nuggets out of this live. Do share it with those around you, or anyone that you think that will need it.
Yes,
those of you on Facebook and YouTube, do please like this video as well. Subscribe to our channel, and yeah, just tell somebody about this live. If you think that they'll find it useful, definitely share it with them. We have been doing this obviously for about 21 weeks, so if you do want to recap or go back and listen to other ones, everything's titled, so you should be able to find whichever episode kind of
YouTube
screams out at you. So yeah, feel free to do that, guys. Again, as we always say, you could have been watching Prime, could have been watching Disney, could have been watching Netflix, but you decided to stay with us. So we really appreciate you guys. So yeah, so next week we have a guest who's going to be coming on the show. Really excited about speaking to them. Incredible couple, Esther and Alf. And we're going to be talking about the breakdown in communication. So that's going to be a powerful session, guys. So make sure you tune in, because we'll be same time, same place.
The only thing is, it's not going to be on Instagram Live.
Yes, it's going to be on YouTube only. Yes.
YouTube only. So for those who are watching on Facebook and for those who are watching on Instagram, please head over to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
9 p.m. Tuesday YouTube channel, and you can watch our discussion with Esther and Alf. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's awesome, guys. Cool. So good evening and good night, guys, and we'll see you guys next week. All right,
guys,
take care.
Blessings.
Bye.